Hi, I'm Jean Grosbeck with Coldwell Banker Island Living. Our guest today is Rick Bunzel with Pacific Crest Inspections. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Gene.
Often our sellers ask us what they need to do to get ready for a home inspection once they have a buyer for their home. So Rick is going to talk a little bit about some of the things that he's going to look for and really some of the perhaps preventative maintenance things that should be done all along on the home.
Great. I've looked at thousands of homes, and after a while you start to see a pattern of what things we see reoccurring over and over again. And we've kind of boiled it down to the top five. The biggest one is what we would categorize as defective plumbing or plumbing leaks. And they come in many different forms and fashions, but the most frequent one is you have a leak underneath your sink, and many people have so many things stuffed underneath their sink that they never see it, and maybe it's a small leak, but over years it can cause a lot of damage. Home inspectors know what to look for, and we will always go in and look for the leak. The other plumbing thing that we see frequently are water heaters. People continue to use things beyond what we call their statistical life, and in this area I've seen water heaters 25 years or older, and basically because water heaters can break dramatically and really flood the house, we almost always, if a water heater is between 18 and 20 years old, we're going to recommend that it be replaced, so a seller can kind of replace that proactively and kind of remove that from the equation. And that's what we're talking about here, is removing potential issues from the selling equation. That we see most frequently is water underneath houses. Most of our houses here are crawl spaces, and I've seen anywhere from swimming pools where there's a foot or two of water underneath the house to where there are just standing pools of water. But standing water underneath your house is never a good thing. And so, although nobody likes to go in a crawl space, when you're going through this process, it's good to know about these issues before they become issues to the buyers. Number three, amateur or old electrical wiring. Houses that were built before 1960, if they have the original fuse panel, if they have the original outlets, they're going to be the two-prong outlets, and that can be an issue for some buyers. In many cases, once again, it's good to address this. If all you're doing is having an electrician come in and make sure it's all safe, that's one step. The better step, obviously, is to replace older things. Number four is furnaces. People, it's amazing how many furnaces, when home inspectors will open up the furnace to see how it's working, how many times we open up the furnace and find out that the air filter has never been changed, and now it's this crumpled ball next to the fan, and it's full of, it's just full of stuff, and that's a flag to us that this furnace has probably been abused, and we're going to want to see a heating and air conditioning technician check that out and make sure it's safe. And if it's older, and furnaces once again have a statistical life of about 15 to 17 years, if it's older, we're going to want to have things like the heat exchanger checked out to make sure it's not producing carbon monoxide. And if it's very rusty inside, it may be a replacement item. Last but not least, and very important here in the Pacific Northwest, are roofs. We get a lot of rain, we get a lot of wind here, and that can be hard on the roofs. Plus we have things like moss that grow on the roofs. And it's a great idea for a seller to have that roof cleaned before the sales process, clean out the gutters. If the roof is more than 15 years old, they may consider to have a roofer come out and do what's called a roof certification, where a roofer will basically examine it, make any repairs that are needed, and issue a 5-year certificate to the seller. And then once again, that becomes part of the disclosure process, that they've had a professional check the roof, and that takes that out of the equation, especially if it's a little bit older. So if you do those 5 things, you put yourself in a better position. Now, alternatively, if you don't want to do all this checking yourself, you can have a home inspector do a pre-listing inspection. And basically, that inspection is the same comprehensive inspection they would do for the buyer. They will flag items that would normally come up, and then that will give you as the seller an opportunity to fix all those things. And once again, it takes it out of that negotiating equation of, or reduce the number of unpleasant surprises that could come up in this whole stressful negotiating period. So pre-listing inspection, it actually becomes a small amount of money that can save a seller a lot of money in the negotiating process.
Thank you. That's very good advice for our sellers. I think that also is educational for buyers as well. And we would love to help you with your real estate transaction if you're a buyer or seller. So please contact Coldwell Banker Island Living at 360-293-4511 for more information, or to get a pre-listing inspection or a home inspection for a home you're thinking of buying. Contact Rick.
And we can be reached at 360-588-9956 or on the web at packcrestinspections.com.